Oh, that looked like fun, didn't it? Right, it's time now to get an update on the day's top business news. Marcus Carlson is here with us in the studio. Marcus, just starting with some good news for once, has to be said. Strong growth figures over in the US are helping stock markets higher.
Well, it's not good news for once when it comes to the United States, because we've seen the recovery there taking shape for a while now, and that recovery is on track by the looks of the latest figures. The American economy grew by 3.2% in the last quarter of 2013. That's in comparison to the last 3 months of 2012. The figure may be slower than in the third quarter, when we saw the American economy grow by 4.1%. Still, though, the 3.2% was stronger than expected. There you have it, 3.2% for the fourth quarter, 4.1% for the third quarter. Remember, though, that there was a government shutdown at the start of October, and there were fears of that weighing on growth. But as it seems, that didn't materialize. The growth figure is now boosting the mood over on Wall Street this session. All three main indices in the United States are in the green. The Nasdaq in particular is up almost 2%, and we're going to tell you why in just a moment. First, though, let's talk you through the European close. Here in Europe, it was a little bit more of a mixed bag, with the FTSE in London losing some steam, not too much though, down around about 0.1%. Shares in spirits maker Diageo led the fall in London, as it said weakness in emerging markets is hurting sales. Now, looking then at why the Nasdaq is powering ahead, shares in Facebook, they're soaring after stronger than expected results for the fourth quarter. It comes as the social network says more than half of its advertising revenues comes from mobile. It's seen as a milestone, as investors, they've been worrying about Facebook's viability on mobile devices. Looking at another company, shares in Google, they're higher after it's announced the sale of mobile phone maker Motorola Mobility. The Chinese company Lenovo is the buyer in a deal valued at $2.9 billion. Google bought Motorola Mobility 2 years ago for $12.4 billion. Despite the much lower sale price, investors appear to be welcoming the sale. Google keeps many of Motorola's patents, and the deal also allows the company to focus on software. And here's another company in the spotlight. Shares in Nintendo lost more than 4% in Tokyo earlier. The creator of Super Mario Bros. Is under pressure to revive sales, but the president of the company says that he's not willing to change tack dramatically. Delana D'Souza has more.
The games will continue according to Nintendo's president. Satoru Iwata has refused changing the company's direction away from consoles. Despite weak demand, console prices will not be slashed. Instead, executive pay will be cut. The company has been criticized for failing to incorporate smartphones and tablets into its business. One analyst, however, feels differently.
Nintendo is in a really difficult position right now. So I think that by putting their games on smartphones, for example, this is probably the biggest piece of advice that many people are giving the company at the moment. I think that this would ultimately kill Nintendo.
Nintendo faces criticism for limited game selection compared with rival Sony's PS4 and Microsoft's Xbox. The maker of iconic games such as Super Mario and Donkey Kong has so far resisted licensing games for use on mobile apps. Gamers themselves are split.
I don't think they should get into smartphones. When I like a game, I buy the console made for the game. It's not something I economize on.
Games on smartphones are developing more and more. And what Nintendo's doing, well, people are using consoles less.
The $44 billion video games market has faced tough competition from cheap games downloaded onto smartphones and tablets. Nintendo also announced initial plans to enter the healthcare industry.
Let's talk you through a few other stories that we're watching for you over on the business desk. Germany's labour market remains in good shape at the start of the year. The number of people registered as jobless in Germany fell by 28,000 this month. Analysts had predicted a fall, but not by as much. Unemployment in percentage terms also remains steady at 6.8%. It's much lower than the Eurozone average, which hovers just over 12%. Oil company Shell has suspended a controversial drilling program in the Arctic. It's part of a wider drive to cut spending and make operations more efficient. Shell is under pressure to improve profitability as it reported a fourth quarter profit of $1.8 billion. That's a 74% fall on the same period in 2012. And France's Renault and Japan's Nissan are deepening their alliance in the car sector. The two brands will combine their manufacturing, research and development operations. Carlos Ghosn, who is the chief executive of both companies, says that it will cut costs by 4.3 billion euros a year by 2016. Renault-Nissan is the fourth biggest car group globally, selling more than 8 million vehicles annually. And with that, I'm going to throw it back to you, Laura.
Great, thanks very much indeed, Marcus Carlson there. Well, after the break, we're going to take you to Florence, Italy. We're waiting for a third verdict in the Amanda Knox murder trial. A judge threw out her acquittal last year, and they will decide today whether they believe she's guilty or not. That's up next.